Joining me here on the stage are several members of our faculty, Dr. David Campbell, Dr. April Pyle, Dr. Peter Bradley, Dr. Imka Schroeder, our former chair, Dr. Sherry Morrison, Dr. Jeffrey H. Miller, Dr. Crystal Witten-Bogart, Dr. Ken Bradley, and our special guest faculty from MCDB, Dr. Ann Hirsch. We also have Bridget Wells, our undergraduate student affairs officer, Zain Ahmed, who will be delivering our undergraduate address, our 9 doctoral degree recipients, and I'm Jeff Miller, chairman of the department. As graduates, thank you. As graduates of MIMG, you've chosen one of the most challenging courses of study at this university. You spent the last several years acquiring a strong background in math and chemistry and physics and applied this to a study of the fundamental basis for life. Many of you have worked with our research faculty in their laboratories and have developed a firsthand knowledge of how science is actually done. All of you are now prepared to apply your education to the pursuit of diverse and fascinating careers. We live in a tremendously exciting period of discovery in the life sciences. The complete genome sequences of thousands of different organisms are now readily available. These include the human, countless mammals, numerous plants and microbes, including nearly all of the important pathogens of humans. This provides us with unprecedented tools for understanding organism function, as well as pathogenic mechanisms responsible for disease. And it is scientists with training like you have received here at UCLA that have made these advances possible, and they have enormous practical applications in agriculture, environmental sciences, the pharmaceutical industry, and most certainly the practice of medicine. Take as an example, knowledge of an individual's complete DNA sequence. We are at the beginning of a period of enormous activity that is merging genome sciences with clinical practice. The first draft of the human genome was published in 2003. It cost an estimated $10 billion, and it took 13 years. Today, it costs about $10,000, and any one of us can have our genome sequenced in about a week if we can afford it, and that too will change. Within a few years, a complete sequence will be about $1,000, and most of us will be in possession of the complete blueprints that define us as individuals. For those of you that become physicians, you will be using personalized, individualized gene sequences to diagnose illnesses in your patients, to predict susceptibilities to disease, and to determine who will respond favorably, not at all, or unfavorably to particular therapeutic interventions. These are exciting prospects. And we are proud of the fact that every one of you as graduates of MIMG have the ability to read and interpret the 3.2 billion letter code that defines us as human beings. But there's also reason for caution. The same information that can be put to such great use can also be used to discriminate in hiring decisions, job security, health coverage, insurance. 2 weeks ago, colleagues in Seattle successfully decoded the complete genome of an 18-week-old fetus in utero using only a blood sample from the mother and a saliva sample from the father. This capability has tremendous applications for prenatal diagnosis, but it also raises ethical questions as fundamental as who deserves to be born. It's essential that those of you who understand the technologies, its capabilities, and its implications not only participate, but lead the public debate surrounding its use. And while you're doing so, to help close the widening gap between science and public understanding. As students of microbiology, you become acquainted with, and we hope fascinated by, the many microbes that surround us and live within us, and you've also become familiar with the devastating effects these organisms exact on the human population. On a worldwide basis, infectious diseases remain as the leading cause of morbidity and mortality. Last summer and early fall, hundreds and then thousands of people across Europe became violently ill with E. coli. Hundreds died, and many more are still struggling with the complications from that devastating disease. The strain responsible is arguably the most virulent E. coli that has ever been seen, and it was spread by bean sprouts, which are sort of the epitome of healthy food. Isolates were sequenced in record time, and we can now postulate how this strain evolved. A bacterial strain that circulated in Central Africa about a decade ago acquired an extraordinarily potent toxin, a Shiga toxin, that was carried on the genome of a lambda-like phage and integrated into the E. coli chromosome. And every one of you should understand exactly what I just said, and parents, please get back to me if you have any questions about their understanding. We can all appreciate that the battle against infectious diseases is far from being won, but fortunately it is being fought by scientists with expertise like you have received. You also know that microbes are by no means all bad. The vast majority do us no harm, and many are beneficial. Microbes produce half of the oxygen we breathe. They convert nitrogen into forms that can be used by plants and animals, and they were responsible for degrading most of the oil that spilled into the Gulf of Mexico 2 summers ago. Every one of us carries within us 10 times more bacteria than cells of our own making. On a per-cell basis, we are much more microbe than we are human being. We have about 20,000 protein-coding genes, which incidentally is about the same as a grape. But our bacteria have 3 million unique genes, making them by far the major component of our genetic endowment. Our exploration of what these thousands of microbial species that inhabit us do is just beginning, but what we know so far is fascinating. The 10 trillion bacteria that live in our gut prevent infection by pathogens. They synthesize essential vitamins, they detoxify carcinogens, and they will degrade much of what you eat for brunch today. When we die, we do so with trillions of tiny friends. It's recently been proposed that obesity may in part be due to alterations in the relative numbers and types of bacteria that inhabit our gastrointestinal tract. Mice that are born without bacteria have weak immune systems, inefficient digestion, smaller organs, and abnormal behavior. We have co-evolved with our microbial communities, and they affect us in ways that have yet to be imagined. As disciplines, microbiology, immunology, and molecular genetics lie at the core of our efforts to understand the human organism, to cure and prevent infectious diseases, to treat and prevent cancer, and to understand the workings of human as well as microbial cells. In addition to affecting our own health, microbes are essential for the health of our planet, and they provide us with one of the best opportunities we have for developing sustainable energy sources that will decrease our dependency on foreign oil. There are many opportunities to contribute, and you all have important work to do. Graduation Day is a time of great excitement. It's also a time of expectation and change as you leave the accustomed environment of this beautiful university and enter the real world. Many of you will be assuming jobs in the biotechnology industry or in government or university labs. Some of you will go on to medical school or dental school or nursing. Some of you will go to graduate school to prepare for careers in science or other fields. The options are many, the possibilities are virtually unlimited, and we wish you success in whatever path you choose. As faculty, we derive tremendous enjoyment watching you develop from eager freshmen into experienced and sophisticated seniors. It's been our goal to provide you with the education necessary to understand and to navigate an increasingly complex world. Even more importantly, it has been our goal to provide you with the ability to solve problems and to think with creativity and imagination. When I consider what we teach in our classes, I'm struck by the fact that much of what is now common knowledge had not been discovered when we all graduated from college. The pace of learning is fast, and graduation is by no means an end to your education. Learning is a lifelong endeavor, and I hope we have prepared you well. So it's now time to present what is actually the highest degree that is awarded by this or any other American university, the PhD. And Dr. David Campbell will preside over our hooding ceremony.